On a more serious note,
Yeah.
this week a lot of headlines in regards to the killing of that young woman, Lilie James, in that school in St. Andrews in the city. Beautiful girl, 21 years old. And once again, we've spoken about this before, but it spotlights male violence against women. I watched, whenever I see, I think this specific case has captivated Australia because, you know, we have the CCTV, she was young, 21, she was a teacher. It was in a school. Sorry.
It happened at work in a school.
A work in a school that is always safe.
Yeah.
And they're both workers there. He was the ex-boy. I wouldn't even call him an ex-boyfriend. Let's just... He's a dog. Dog, bro.
Absolute dog, bro.
And not just that case, but there was a Filipina lady in Bendigo that also was killed by an ex-boyfriend. Watching these, and it must be that, okay, let's start off with the Lilie James case. So we don't have to, you can look into it, or we don't have to go into it, what happened. But it was savage the way she was taken away from this world. Also, the guy ended up killing himself after anyway.
What a scum.
The guy was working there as a teacher.
They both were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was comments in saying, there were comments on him talking about how the girls were saying, the girl students were saying it was a bit of a creep, he would flirt, and he was showing off about he was dating her. Blah, blah, blah. But looking at his photos, and yes, I don't judge a book by its cover, but he just seems like the typical, he's from Netherlands, so he was a Dutch expat, or not expat, but you know, immigrant.
Yeah.
He just looked like a kid that was always given everything to him. He had his life was so well, proper, privileged. It seemed like he came from a good family home. And the one time that he got the no and the rejection and the I don't want to be with you no more, he did what you said last time we spoke about this, if I can't have you, nobody can.
Have you. Yeah. That's...
You have daughters, you know what I mean?
We've got sisters.
We've
got mums, aunties, cousins. Bro, I've got hundreds of girl cousins. And like, that's why DV is like such a thing that hits so close to home for me, man. Like in general. And yeah, like, it's sad to see because...
She was so young.
So young.
The Filipina lady, even if she, 40s, that's young. Like, and didn't deserve these things.
No, didn't deserve, like, no one deserves it. But, like, if a girl wants to leave a relationship, there shouldn't be repercussions of that sort. Ever. Doesn't matter what the situation is.
But that's why we want to highlight it, because it starts from when who knows what happened to these boys when they were kids, like young kids. It doesn't matter as well. Don't use your trauma as an excuse.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't use your trauma as an excuse. And we're talking about men being men.
Yeah.
And, bro, I talk to you about this all the time. It will take a lot for me to punch somebody.
Yeah.
You know, someone I hated.
Yeah.
It will take a lot.
Let alone
someone going to a woman that obviously she's not going to be able to help herself.
Protect herself. And that's the sad thing about it is it must be, you've highlighted it before, it must be their sense of insecurities or something like that.
Yeah.
For them to backlash and for them to...
It's an ego thing as well.
It's an ego. Big time ego.
Once your ego gets hit,
yes. Like the whole time he was probably, like before they got together, he was probably any girl that he wanted to get. Like, hey, how are you? Anything that mummy and daddy wanted to get. Yeah, he got.
The one time.
And then the one time she's like, oh, sorry, I can't do this. He goes, oh, no. We can make it work. And just that poor girl. Both of them. And that poor Tita as well. That's...
Just because, So, young men, we talk about the young boys of Australia and obviously all over the world, everything, but Man.
It honestly starts from home. Like, I've never laid my hand on my missus. My dad's never did it in front of me, and I think that's where it starts. They've probably seen their dad beat on their mum, and then they think, oh yeah, it's normal. It's normal to hit a girl. But if I ever got into an argument with my sister, if we ever like come to blows as kids, bro, my dad will those. Don't you ever put your hands on a girl? I was like, yeah, sweetheart, yeah. And then I think it stems back to that. So it's a job for parents to basically like lead by example, like with your kids.
I'll just say, if you got a mate as well, you know, when you're in your teens or whatever, you can't just let it happen, you know, like pull your mate aside.
Pull your mate aside and say, it's wrong, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have any mates that I know of that have been abusive to that's made public knowledge. Yeah. Like, I don't know if we do or we don't, but I've never come across it with any of our mates, with any of our group. And just, it's sad, man. And both of them, like them poor women, man, it should never have happened.
Yeah.